football season has come in the state of Texas. After months of questions, tonight, the season indeed begins. And right out of the gates, two of the top 5 teams in the state in 3A go toe-to-toe. Two-time defending state champion Grandview hosts Malakoff in a top 5 matchup. Next on Friday Night Football. Good evening again, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2020 high school football season. We didn't think this season was going to happen just a few short months ago, but we are indeed here. There is at least the start of a high school football season. We don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know if the season is going to finish. We certainly hope that it will, but if nothing else, it begins tonight, and for us, it begins here in Grandview at Zebra Stadium. I'm Mike Leslie here with you as always. Solo this evening. That's part of our own COVID protocols. We don't have a color commentator tonight as an effort to try and keep us as socially distant as possible. But I'll bring you the whole way as we bring you what should be a fantastic football game tonight. Number 2 in the state, Grandview. Number 4 in the state, Malakoff, in the 3A Division I state rankings. These two teams played for a state championship just 2 years ago at the end of the 2018 season, and this is the 4th time that they are meeting in 707 days. Grandview has won each of those 3 meetings. Malakoff looking for a little revenge tonight. These are two teams that are led by 2 fantastic quarterbacks, and that gets us to our players to watch for this evening. Dane Yench is a player that, if you don't know, you should. He is the most decorated high school football player in the state of Texas. That is a factual statement. He's won 2 state championships his sophomore and junior year, and each time he won offensive and defensive MVP in those games. So he's got 4 of those on his mantle. He's going for 6 and a 3rd state championship this year. And if he can win a state championship and go 15-1 or 16-0 this season, very much a possibility for this Grandview program. He would set the all-time record for wins by a quarterback in Texas high school football history. A lot on the line this season for Dane Yench. Opposite him is another very, very talented quarterback from Malakoff in Darian Peace, also a linebacker for that football team. He is the leader on that squad, both offensively and defensively. Last year, over 30 touchdown passes, 2,700 passing yards. He's got a reputation as being very smart with the football, and he'll need to tonight against a very strong Grandview defense. Let's get to the starters for tonight's game. First, for the Malakoff offense, we mentioned Darian Peace, Deuce Hart in the backfield with him, a 4 wide receiver set for Peace. Defensively for Malakoff, also a lot of talent, and the first name that you need to see on this screen is Zamir Ruiz, big number 54. Their defensive tackle is a stud and will be real tough for Grandview's offensive line to deal with tonight. Grandview starting offense, led of course by Dane Yench, Gavin Leftwich in the backfield with him, and a guy that you should keep an eye out for that isn't on this chart but will see a lot of time offensively is Demetrius Crownover. He is their starting defensive end as we flip over to the defense as well. This kid is 6'7", 275 pounds. He has got just about every Division I school in the South looking at him. Texas A&M is considered to be the favorite, but he's got 5 different schools that he's considered his top 5 right now, Texas among them. We'll get to that over the course of the broadcast, but he is a kid in big number 1 that you will definitely want to keep an eye out for tonight. Head coaches this evening. First, for the visiting Malakoff Tigers, Jamie Driscoll in his 12th season at Malakoff, 110-26 in his span as the head coach of the Tigers, and Ryan Ebner, the head coach of Grandview, in his 2nd season as head coach. Last year, 15-1 in a state championship. The first year they won a state title, he was a coordinator for that team. It is just about time to crank it up for the 2020 high school football season. How fortunate we are to even have high school football right now. And the season starts next, right here on the WFAA Digital Network. State, a rematch of the 2018 state championship game. Grandview to kick off. Malakoff to receive the opening kickoff, and it runs out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Flags on the play, and it will be very good field position for the Malakoff Tigers to start this one. Darian Peace, the starting quarterback for Malakoff. We told you about him off the top of the broadcast. Super talented senior. 6'2", 205 pounds. A year ago, 30 touchdown passes and over 2,700 yards. Tonight, looking to start what Malakoff hopes will be, just as Grandview hopes that this will be a state championship, and for a third consecutive year, Malakoff has the same hopes this season to go on a state title run in Darian Peace's senior year. Deuce Hart, the back in the backfield with him. Jalen Hart, Nathan Jones, Jalen Mosley, and Riggin Smith, the 4 wide receiver set for Peace. Eric Waldo, Cole Gaddis, Ryder Rogers, Lance Robertson, and Brandon Nations, the offensive lineman, left to right. 1st and 10 at the 30-yard line after the penalty on the kickoff, and that's where Peace will keep it himself off the read option, carries it up the middle for about 3, and the 2020 high school football season is underway here in the state of Texas. We do appreciate you joining us here on YouTube Live. If you have the opportunity, please send this link to all your friends and family that may want to watch this football game tonight, as Peace, looking deep downfield, has a man behind the defense, bobbled and incomplete, in and out of the hands of Jalen Mosley. He had a great chance at it. He was a good few yards behind the final defender from Grandview. Luke Ferguson was back there in coverage, as was Dane Yench. But it bounces off the chest of Mosley and incomplete, and it'll be 3rd down and 7. Peace in shotgun, 3 wides to the bottom of the formation, looking that way, pressure in his face up the middle, fires near side, complete for a 1st down, and spinning out of the first tackle was Jalen Hart. That's Deuce's brother. 1 a wide receiver, 1 the running back. Jalen wearing number 5, a senior. Deuce wearing number 2, the running back, a junior. And they are both key pieces in this Malakoff offense. 1st down, out to the 45-yard line for the Tigers offense. Peace in shotgun once again, hands to Hart for the first time today, trying to cut up field and strung out for no gain. Defensive starters for the Grandview Zebras: Demetrius Crownover, Jacob Bayer, and Cade Fedor, the 3 down linemen. Bryson Davis, Matt Lenart, and Clayton Hale, the 3 linebackers. It's a 3-3 stack for this Grandview Zebras defense, at least their base defense. They do get pretty multiple. 3 safeties behind them: Nathaniel Vargas, Dane Yench, and Braden Price. And Cason English and Luke Ferguson are the 2 cornerbacks. Hand off up the middle. Hart breaks the first tackle, but taken down by Yench inside. Gain of about 4 on 2nd down and 10, and it'll be 3rd and medium. 315 of you watching concurrently right now on our WFAA YouTube channel. Again, please share this feed with your friends and family in the Grandview and Malakoff communities, the Texas high school football community at large. Plenty of people, I'm sure, will want to watch this football game tonight between 2 of the absolute best in the state in 3A D1. Peace out of shotgun on 3rd and 6. Chops his feet, trying to find Hart downfield. Now he's going to try and run for it. Has the corner, has the 1st down. Down inside the 45 to the 43 in Grandview territory, and Darian Peace doing it with his feet. Peace, when you talk to both of these coaches, both Coach Ebner from Grandview as well as Jamie Driscoll from Malakoff, each of them have so much respect for this Darian Peace kid. Ebner said he can throw it really well, and they're both impressed with his ability to make smart decisions with the football. He did so right there on 3rd down and 6. Flags here before the snap, and that's going to go against the Malakoff offense. Or at least I believe there is still some discussion here between our officiating crew. It is indeed a false start. Leonard Lopez, our head referee this evening. Ken McCune, Chris Demers, Chris Mangum, and Cedric Tisby, our 5-man crew this evening. Lopez wearing the white hat. 5-yard penalty brings it back to the 48, and it'll be 1st and 15. Peace, pressure in his face, and he's taken down. Cade Fedor up the middle, leading the charge. A loss of 8 on the play. Beg your pardon, call it 10, all the way back to the 42-yard line. And now it will be second down and a mile. Have to get to the 34-yard line for a first down. Option play is not going to work, and again it's Fedor. Cade Fedor in the backfield making the big play. He's a all-energy guy, according to head coach Ryan Ebner. And get this, a rodeo guy as well. Ebner calls him a big-time rodeo guy, and you saw a little bit of his lasso capabilities right there, taking down Darian Peace in the backfield. Another loss of yardage, and now third and a mile. They're just going to hand it off to Deuce Hart and see if he can pick up a small chunk of it. The ball came out at the end of the play, picked up by Grandview, but they're going to say that was after the play had come to an end. And it will be fourth down and forever for Malakoff, and they'll have to punt. A promising first possession for the first few moments of it anyway. But ultimately, a penalty, a sack, and an option play that was blown up in the backfield. And Malakoff has to punt it away. Deep to return for Grandview, and signaling for the fair catch. The three starting wide receivers, Clay Hale, the starting tight end, big number 82, Jacob Bayer, Garrett Holmes, Caleb Bayer, Colton Hoban, and Peyton Breton, the starting offensive line from left to right. Second down and 8, Jensch in shotgun, 4 wide receivers set here, and Leftwich in the backfield with him. Play action. Jensch tipped at the line of scrimmage and nearly intercepted. It was fluttering right in the face of big number 33 for Malakoff. Calvin Polk had an opportunity at it, but it fell to the turf harmlessly. Third down and 8 now, as Brandon Nation, Zamir Ruiz, Eric Waldo, and Cole Gaddis, the starting defensive front for the Malakoff Tigers, look into the backfield at Dane Jensch. Zach Studley, DK Rose, Darian Peace, the starters in the linebacker core, as they try to make a play here, and knifing across to make a play is 33 again, Calvin Polk. He's been in there early on in the football game and cuts down the ball carrier Gavin Leftwich short of the line to gain. It's fourth down and short. And a decision time here for Grandview. Jensch is going to be in shotgun. He is the punter, so they could theoretically punt out of this formation. It is not uncommon for them to drop back into a modified shotgun set and punt out of this formation. Malakoff has not yet sent anybody deep. Now they're going to motion Jensch out of the formation, bring Luke Ferguson back in. Maybe Ferguson will punt it away, and yes, he will. Sends it deep, and Darian Peace is going to have to chase after that one. Bounces inside the 20, decides to field it, and athletically does so. Gets free, and he's out across the 30-yard line. Darian Peace with a very nice return. The quarterback and linebacker showing off the scoots on the punt return, and he negates what was a very nice punt from Luke Ferguson. Just to finish off the Malakoff defensive starters, we didn't give you the defensive backs because the series was as short as it was, but River Perkins, Jalen Mosley, Connor Kale, and Hayden Thomas, the 4 DBs for Malakoff. But it's now the Tigers offense taking back over at their own 32-yard line. They've had good field position on each of their first 2 drives. First the 30-yard line after the penalty on the kickoff out of bounds. Now the 32 after a nice punt return by Darian Peace. 6:17 to play here in the opening quarter from Grandview. Zebra Stadium. Peace in the backfield, taken down, and that is Demetrius Crownover making the play. He is a terror, an absolute terror for any offensive lineman anywhere in 3A. He is, get this, 6'7", 275 pounds. A four-star recruit, 26 different offers on the table. He has narrowed it down to his top 5, Texas A&M and Texas among those 5 schools. Ohio State also in the mix, but he is a super talented kid. Here on second down and long, no Peace with a nice pass, but it's broken loose, and it's scooped up by Grandview. Who got the football? Nathaniel Vargas with the recovery after he and Luke Ferguson combined on the tackle. They ripped the ball free, and it's Grandview ball in Malakoff territory. $402 of you watching now with us as we hit the midpoint of quarter number 1. Malakoff and Grandview, and again, please share this link with anyone and everyone you know that might want to watch this game. As for the first time, we see Jensch go to the air, complete, and that will be enough for a first down as Kason English breaks the first tackle and picks up enough to reset the chains. This is a super talented sophomore. Ryan Ebner, the head coach at Grandview, was very complimentary of this young man. He said talent is just oozing out of this kid. Now, there is a flag down. Officials reviewing the play. It looks like it's going to go against the Malakoff defense. So add a little more onto the big reception from Kason English. And with 5:24 to play here in quarter number 1, Grandview's offense is going to be down inside the red zone.
Once again, place mass against the Tigers. We have the distance to the goal with them in the back. It's now first and goal. Zebras.
The penalty was a face mask. First and 10 from the 13-yard line as Jensch will be in shotgun. One wide receiver to the top of the formation is Ferguson, 2 to the bottom side, and the handoff goes up the middle in the hands of Gavin Left, which spins through the defensive line and maybe picks up a yard or 2.
Left switch up the middle, tackle made by number 20, Connor Kale. Gain of 1 on the play, second down and 9 now for the Zebras.
They'll give him a yard. 5 minutes to play here in the first quarter. No score, but certainly Dane Jensch and the Grandview offense is threatening. Swinging out on the right-hand side on a quick pass, complete, but taken down rather quickly. Vargas, the young man who recovered the fumble, making the catch. Pickup of about 3 on the play. It'll be third down, and we'll call it 6. Jensch with 2 wides to the near side. It's again Leftwich in the backfield with him. Looking right, rolling right, pressured. Flagged down as he fires through the back of the end zone. That looks like it may be a hold against Leftwich as he tried to catch the blitzing linebacker. And that is indeed the signal from Leonard Lopez, our head referee. Looks like Jamie Driscoll will decline the penalty, and it will be 4th down and 6. Ball's at the 9-yard line, which would make it a 26-yard field goal. Grandview's kicker is Luke Ferguson, the same young man who punted the ball a few minutes ago. And it looks like they are going to line him up for, we'll call it a 25-yarder based on the spot of Kason English. Right-footed kicker is Ferguson. Snap is good, hold is down, and it's an early 3-0 lead for the Grandview Zebras. Ferguson good from 25, and it was all set up by the fumble recovery by Nathaniel Vargas. The defense from Grandview leading to 3 points. And the 2020 season is now officially underway. 4:02 to play here in quarter number 1. Mike Leslie here with you on the WFA Digital Network. YouTube Live, our platform this year. 435 of you watching with us right now. We do appreciate you tuning in. And please share this feed with your friends and family. Anyone that you may know that would want to tune in, let them know that we are doing this broadcast and they can watch 2 of the top 5 teams in the state of Texas squaring off here to open up the season. It'll be Ferguson to kick the ball away. The Vargas fumble recovery leading to the 25-yard field goal. And now Ferguson, this time able to keep the kickoff in bounds. And here comes Malakoff's return team, and it's Deuce Hart finding a seam up the middle and fighting his way out to the 37-yard line. A nice return by the junior. And for the 3rd straight time, out of 3 possessions, Grandview, I beg your pardon, Malakoff with very good field position. Now up to 452 of you watching concurrently on YouTube Live. Again, we do really appreciate you guys joining us. I'm going to do what I can to share this feed myself to all my social media channels and make sure that as many people as possible are tuning in for what is already shaping up to be a really, really good football game between 2 evenly matched teams. Peace out of shotgun on 1st and 10. Handoff Hart up the middle. Picks his way for, we'll say 3.
Once again with the carry up the middle. Tackle man by number 82, Clinton Hill, and number 2 is Grant.
Peace swings it on the left-hand side, and stacked up immediately is Riggin Smith. Beg your pardon, it's Nathan Jones on the receiving end. And it will be 3rd down and about 6 now. They're going to say he lost a yard there.
3rd down and 7 for the Tigers at their own 40-yard line. It is 3rd down.
Peace out of shotgun. Call it 3rd and 7, actually. Firing it on the near side. Too tall and over the outstretched fingertips of Jalen Hart. And it'll be 4th down and 7 from their own 40. And Malakoff will have to punt it away.
Jalen Hart. Number 10, Braden Price supplying the defense for the Zebras. It'll be 4th down and 7 now for the Tigers at their own 40-yard line.
Nathan Jones, the punter for Malakoff. Luke Ferguson deep to return for Grandview. We saw him bobble the last punt. So far, the only punt we've seen today from Malakoff. Line drive punt up the left sideline. Ferguson will let that bounce inside the 20, and they'll mark it at about the 16, 17-yard line. And that's where Dane Yench and company will go back to work with a 3-0 lead now off the 25-yard field goal from Luke Ferguson, again set up by the fumble recovery by Nathaniel Vargas. And that is our only scoring so far today. .50% capacity crowd here at Malakoff for game number 1 of the 2020 season. They sold exactly 50% capacity, the listed capacity online, as the handoff goes to Leftwich, and he picks up about 3. Beg your pardon, it's Bryson Davis on the carry. Bryson Davis and J.J. Castillo both are players that will see time in the backfield along with Gavin Leftwich. The 3 of them have all been battling for time and reps and carries over the course of training camp. And you'll see each of them over the course of today. 2nd down and 7. Now it's going to be Yench to keep it himself off the read option. Takes it up the middle, lowers his shoulder right into the chest of Darian Peace. Not quite enough for a 1st down. It'll be 3rd and short. the official listed capacity for Zebra Stadium is 2,700. In talking with the principal from Grandview, Mr. Basham, actually the father of Bryce Basham, one of the players on this Grandview football team, he said in reality it's probably closer to 1,500 is their realistic capacity. 1,100 on the home side. A flag comes in as Davis was able to pick his way for a first down, but it looks like it may come back. Zamir Ruiz certainly signaling that it's a penalty against Grandview, and we do apologize. Our scoreboard is apparently very dark right now. We're going to try and rectify that. Perhaps in the quarter break, certainly at halftime, if nothing else. We'll see if we can make that happen. We are a two-man crew here. So the penalty knocks them all the way back to 3rd down and 11. Ball sitting at their own 16. They've got to get to the 27 for a first down. Jens in shotgun. 3 wides to the top of the formation. All day in the pocket for Jensen, looking deep up the near sideline. He's got a man, it's complete. Kaysen English up the near sideline, down close to midfield. Kaysen English breaking free out of the backfield. Jens had all day because the offensive line gave him enough time to make a sandwich in the pocket. Breaks his way out of the pocket eventually and finds Kaysen English downfield, and it's a first down out to the 48-yard line. Quick snap now as the handoff goes to Leftwich up the middle, and Zamir Ruiz is there to cut him off at the pass. 1 minute to play here in quarter number 1.
Leftwich on the carry. Tackle made by number 54, Zamir Ruiz. Player injury on the field.
And there's a player down on the field. It's Zamir Ruiz. 53.8 on the clock. Ruiz down on the field. He is one of the best players on this Malakoff defense. Senior, 6'1", 270 pounds. Head coach Jamie Driscoll says this is a kid that's got a lot of fast twitch to him despite how big and strong he is. He said when Zamir Ruiz decides to go, he's really, really good. A special player and a key piece to both the offense and defense for Malakoff, as he's a big presence on both the offensive and defensive lines. But he is down right at midfield right now and being tended to by the Malakoff trainer. Also being now helped to his feet by head coach Jamie Driscoll. Ruiz walking off under his own power, a bit gingerly, but appearing to be not in too bad a shape to be able to possibly get back on the field. We'll keep an eye on his status. Trevor Jarvis, Jaden Trevino, some of the young men that you'll see come on the field in his stead. Kavion Davis, Lance Robertson, all key pieces of this team. 2nd down and 8 for Jensch. Leftwich able to carry close to first down yardage. 38 seconds to play here in quarter number 1. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for Jensch. He'll take it out of shotgun, 2 wides to the top of the formation.
Downfield, which decides to keep it, rotate it down the left sideline.
And what a play by Dane Jentsch getting up the left sideline. 8.8 seconds to play now in the quarter. We apologize. We're trying to fix your scoreboard, which is, as you may have noticed, a little bit dark. So I'm trying to run the camera briefly while our cameraman goes and fixes that as the snap goes through the hands of Jentsch, but he's able to corral, looking deep over the middle, incomplete. And that will be not quite the final play of quarter number 1. 3.7 on the clock, and there's a flag down. We are a two-man crew out here at Grandview High School, so when we have minor technical difficulties like the scoreboard camera getting a little bit too dark, needing to what's called irising up, we have to send our photographer down there to do it, and I stay back here and try and run the camera for a couple of plays and make sure that we're still bringing you guys all the action. So 3rd down and, beg your pardon, 1st and 10 after the penalty, 3.7 on the clock. It was a flag against Grandview, a legal man downfield. So one final play, barring a penalty here. It'll be 1st and 15 for Jentsch and the Zebras. Looking near side, Case in English on the screen pass, breaks the first tackle, breaks another, breaking into the secondary and down inside the 20. And an electric way to finish off quarter number 1 for the Grandview Zebras offense. They are once again threatening as the ball sits right on the 20-yard stripe as we head to quarter number 2. 3-0 Grandview here on the WFA Digital Network. We'll be back with quarter number 2 in just a moment.
Here are your 2020 Zebra cheerleaders. Macy Button, Kyra Greer, Merritt Sanford, Sienna Schmidt, Erica Dominguez, Macy Gray.
546 of you watching with us right now as we start quarter number 2. The scoreboard here in-house actually just went out, so all of the work that we did to fix the scoreboard may be for naught. They have been having issues with the scoreboard all day here at Grandview, and we showed up at about 3 o'clock. They had issues with the module that runs the scoreboard and had to actually go all the way over to Cleburne to find a replacement and bring that over here. Now they've got it back up and running. We do hope that you're able to see and read the scoreboard shot that we have for you there in the top right corner of the screen.
Starting the second quarter play now, it's 1st and 10 for the Zebras.
1st and 10 for Grandview from the 20-yard line. Handoff up the middle for Leftwich, breaking away to the left-hand side, inside the 10, and 1st down, ripped down out of bounds from behind. 1st and goal, Grandview. And the Zebras offense is looking real sharp early on here today. They weren't able to finish off what they hoped would have been a touchdown drive earlier after the fumble. Let's see if they can finish this one here. Jentsch at a shotgun. 1st down and goal, flag down on the play behind it as Jentsch is spun down to the ground right at the 1-yard line. And there was a flag sitting back at the 6-yard line on the far side of the field. It's going to be offside against the Malakoff defense. And that will set up, I would imagine, that Grandview would take the result of the play and take 2nd and goal at inside the 1-yard line. No, they won't. They'll take the result of the penalty, half the distance, and it'll be 1st and goal at the 3. Jentsch had gotten down inside the 1 where he was taken down there. But Ryan Ebner and company elect to take the extra down to get in from the 3. Jensch in a short shotgun set. Handoff up the middle, and taken down right at about the 1-yard line is Bryson Davis. They'll mark it maybe just outside the 1-yard line. Second down and goal.
Second down and goal from the 1-yard line.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage comes Jensch and company. Again, the short shotgun set. It's Davis behind him and a false start.
Penalty flags down, target set. Penalty is false start against the Zebras.
So second down and goal from inside the 2 will now come outside the 6-yard line.
There's a 5-yard penalty.
11:14 on the clock here in quarter number 2. Mike Leslie here with you on the WFA Digital Network YouTube Live, our platform this year, and well over 500 of you watching with us right now. We do appreciate you joining us. Please hit the like button. Share this stream with anyone and everyone that you may think that would want to watch a little high school football this Friday night. As on second and goal from inside the 7, it's Jensch off play action, rolling left, looking in the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Demetrius Crownover. The big 6'7" target wide open in the back of the end zone. And when you're 6'7", I think the quarterback's going to hit you. Jensch on target, touchdown Grandview, and they build the lead to 9-0. Ferguson on for the extra point. And he's able to put it up and through. 10-0 Grandview, a good start for the 2-time defending state champions in 3A Division I. 10:54 on the clock here in the second quarter. And it's Dane Jensch to Demetrius Crownover, a combo that has been a terror for all of 3A football for the last several years, showing that not much will be different in 2020. The 7-yard touchdown pass makes it 10-0. Fourth time these two programs have met in 707 days. They played twice in the 2018 season, early on in the year, and then also in the state championship game. Grandview won the regular season matchup 28-7, held Malakoff to only 4 first downs all night, and the Tigers didn't score until only 2:27 remained in the fourth quarter. And just so you know, Ryan Ebner, now the head coach at Grandview, was the defensive coordinator for that Grandview team in 2018. So he knows a little thing or two about defense, and had a real good one that year. They met again, of course, in the championship game several months later, and Grandview won that one 35-21. Short kickoff fielded by Malakoff just inside their own 30-yard line, and bringing it out to the 38 is Carter Fuller, the junior. They played again last year, a much closer game. Now, let me backtrack slightly. The championship game, the 2018 championship game, was a close game. 35-21 the final score, but that was a back-and-forth game. That was a close game throughout. Grandview, of course, ended up pulling away slightly toward the end to win by 14, but that was a very competitive football game, as was the meeting of these two teams a year ago. Last September they played. Grandview won 14-13. Malakoff drove and scored what they thought was going to be a game-tying touchdown, as in the backfield once again is this Grandview defense. Cutting through to make the tackle is Clayton Hale, and that's a loss of about a yard on first down. When they met last year, 14-13 was the final score. Malakoff scored what they thought was going to be the game-tying touchdown. A penalty after that touchdown for excessive celebration made the PAT much harder, and they missed, and that ended up being quite costly, as that was the difference in the football game. Second down and 10 for Peace. QB draw up the middle. Good leg drive to turn what could have been no gain into a pickup of maybe 3. I'm told we have lost our scoreboard. It has run out of battery, of all things.
44 yards on the play. It's third down and 6 for the Tigers.
9:50 on the clock here in the second quarter. 10-0 in favor of Grandview. We'll keep you posted on time and score throughout the second quarter here, and we'll rectify that at halftime. Complete over the middle, right at the first down marker as Peace hits Riggin Smith, flagged down behind the play.
Pass is complete to number 12, Riggin Smith. Penalty flag down.
So the penalty will bring it back, and they'll play third down once again.
Was a 10-yard penalty even for the Tigers. It's now third down and 16 from their own 32-yard line.
So third down and we'll call it 15, maybe 16. We'll call it third and 16. They've got to get to the 48-yard line on their own side of the field to pick up a first down. Peace is going to roll right. Move in the pocket, fires short, breaking one tackle, breaking a second tackle to get across the 45, a third tackle, and still on his feet across midfield. What a play by Nathan Jones, catching the short pass and turning it into quite a bit. And a third and 16 conversion. And on third and 16, he picks up 22. Call it 24, in fact, on the play, all the way down to the 44 on Grandview's side of the field. And with 9:18 to play here in the second quarter, it's a fresh set of downs, and the handoff goes to Deuce Hart. Nice cut upfield. Gets inside the 40. Second and 5 after a pickup of 5. Hart was a wide receiver, actually, for this Malakoff football team a year ago. Settling nicely, it appears, into the running back position. Only a junior, and a kid that they're certainly going to need to make a difference this season. Peace looking deep downfield. Has a man behind the defense, just a bit too much. And incomplete. Riggin Smith was behind the defense, and honestly, I'm not so sure that Peace overthrew him as much as I think that Smith may have checked up for a moment, thought that the pass was going to be a bit shorter, and I think that half a beat of hesitation cost him the ability to get underneath that football. Could have been 6. Instead, it's going to be third down and 5 for Malakoff. These are two programs that are extremely talented and used to success, but they're both programs that graduated a good bit from last year's team. 17 lettermen missing off of Grandview's state championship team from a year ago as the timeout is called by Malakoff, their first of the first half. But these are two programs that both lost a lot off of last year's team. Malakoff lost 13 lettermen off of last year's team. And there's a lot of youth coming up from JV that needs to step into some important roles and make plays for these two programs to stay at the level that they're used to. There is certainly enough in the cupboard, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of talent that is in that group coming up from JV for both of these schools, and they expect to be very good once again. But they will need some of these younger players that were key pieces on JV or that were sophomores or freshmen on varsity a year ago. They're going to need them to step up and make some plays this year. 10-0 the score in favor of Grandview. Number 2 Zebras leading number 4 Malakoff. 8:41 on the clock here in the second quarter. And out of the timeout, it'll be third down and 5 for Darian Peace. 2 wides to the near side, 2 to the top side as well. Option set. Deuce Hart takes the pitch, and he's cut down. And who else but Dane Yench knifing across to end that play. Maybe a pickup of a yard, and it'll be 4th and 4. Likely 4-down territory here, and it certainly appears that Darian Peace and company will stay on the football field. Nathan Jones, the punter, is on the field, but he's in the slot, And Peace is going to take the snap on 4th down and a long 4. Looking deep up the seam, and they will throw a flag as getting tangled up with Nathan Jones was Nathaniel Vargas. Looks like it was the back judge, Cedric Tisby, who threw the flag. And they're going to call it pass interference against the Grandview defense, and it will be 1st down on what was 4th down and a long 4 for the Malakoff offense. That is the break they haven't been able to find, frankly, through the first quarter and change of this football game. And now a big opportunity to perhaps put some points on the board, as the penalty will bring the football down inside the 30-yard line. And a fresh set of downs for Darian Peace and company. Set it at the 24, and it's 1st and 10 Tigers. Nearly 600 of you watching with us right now on the WFAA YouTube channel. Thanks so much for being here with us tonight. We really appreciate it. Deuce Hart taking the handoff off the right edge. He's got close to a 1st down as he's down inside the 20 to the 16. A pickup of 8 on 1st down, and he's showing off a little bit of his athletic ability. Ryan Ebner said it when he and I discussed the Malakoff offense earlier this week. He said Deuce Hart is just a different type of runner than they've had in the past. Usually a big bruiser. Deuce Hart's got some scoots, and he's showing it off here in the 1st half. That'll be enough for a 1st down.
Once again on the carry. Tiger 1st down.
7:25 to play, 1st quarter. 10-0 in favor of Grandview. But Malakoff's offense with certainly their biggest threat of the day. First and 10 for Peace. Fakes the handoff to Hart, and he's taken down in the backfield. Quickly on top of him was Bryson Davis, and Peace had nowhere to go.
Loss of 3 on the play. 2nd down and 15 now for the Tigers at the Grandview 15-yard line.
So that's going to set up 2nd down and 13. Ball out to the 15-yard line. They've got to get to the 2 for a 1st down. Peace looking over the middle. Lots of contact, no flag. Luke Ferguson in coverage, blanketing Jalen Mosley. And the officials say it was good coverage, and it will be 3rd down and long. 609 of you watching with us now here on the YouTube channel. We really appreciate you guys joining us tonight, and please keep hitting that share button, keep hitting that like button. Let us know that you're enjoying the broadcast out there, and let your friends and family know that they too can turn it on and enjoy a good football game. Peace swarmed, nowhere to go again. Ball came out at the end. The ball did come out there at the end, but the play had been blown dead, and it will be 4th down and a mile for the Malakoff offense. Juan Gonzalez is their kicker, only a sophomore. From here, you're talking about a 40-yard field goal, and it does not appear that they're going to run the sophomore out and try that here with 5:50 on the clock in quarter number 2. So instead, they're going to try and go for it. Have to get to the 3-yard line, 4th and 20. Peace over the middle, tipped and incomplete.
Turnover on downs, 1st down, Zebras at their own 23-yard line.
So Grandview's defense comes up huge. 5:36 on the clock in the 2nd quarter, and they're able to keep Malakoff with a goose egg on the scoreboard. And out comes Dane Yench and company for the offense trying to add to this 10-0 lead as they take over at their own 23-yard line. Play clock expired. Yench didn't see it, but the back judge did. And the delay of game starts the drive in an inauspicious fashion for the Grandview offense. Dane Yench to Demetrius Crownover, the one touchdown we've seen so far today. A 7-yard hookup early on here in the second quarter. A little bit of a mix-up in the backfield, a broken play here as Yench went one way and Gavin Leftwich went the other. Looked like it was supposed to be an option play, but they were certainly not in option pitch relationship. The back is supposed to be about 5 yards off the quarterback and a yard behind. Instead, they were about 20 yards apart because they went in opposite directions. That sets up 2nd down and 12. Deep over the middle and complete. Running open was Luke Ferguson, and Yench hits him square in the chest, and the Zebras move the football. Quickly back to the line of scrimmage comes Yench and company out of shotgun. He's got 3 wides to the near side, and the snap is low and past him. Trying to jump on top of it, and he does, but not before taking a big loss. The original line of scrimmage was the 41. They're going to mark it all the way back at the 27-yard line, a loss of 14 on 1st and 10 as the snap from Caleb Bayer, really one of the leaders on this offensive line. One of the more talented kids on this Grandview offensive line, and a kid that head coach Ryan Ebner calls a big-time weight room guy as well. Maybe a little too strong with the snap there as it gets by Dane Yench and sets up 2nd down and 24. Yench looking deep over the middle, has a man, it's Ferguson, complete, and that's out to the 39-yard line. That'll get him close to the original line of scrimmage, set up 3rd down and 12. This is the start of a odd, confusing, honestly, maybe ill-conceived high school football season. We really don't know what the fall of 2020 will hold for these high school football programs. But amid COVID-19, it has been certainly a weird year for everyone. But this has been the UIL's plan to get these kids out on the field, 1A through 4A, starting their season tonight as the screen pass from Yench was too low. It was blown up. Good pursuit in the backfield by Brandon Nations made it real tough on Yench, and he couldn't get the pass off until far later than he would have liked to. And it's 4th down and 12, and Grandview has to punt. But 1A through 4A able to start this week. 5A and 6A have to wait until late September. As one of the fans from Grandview said to me earlier tonight, maybe the 5A and 6A schools have it right, because it was 105 here earlier today. Really, just before kickoff, it was still 105 degrees. Right now at 8:19 in the evening, it's still 95 here in Grandview. And with 3:37 on the clock here in the second quarter, Ryan Ebner is going to call timeout before this 4th and 12 punt. But it has been a hot one here in Grandview for sure. So maybe the 5A and 6A programs really do have it right, waiting until late September to start their season. But here we are, small schools able to start this week. Games last night in some spots around the country. Certainly on Friday night is the big night for high school football across the state. The vast majority of the games, in fact, over 500 games being played this weekend, and 474 of them this evening. A few on Thursday night, a handful more tomorrow. But by and large, the high school football season beginning this evening. We don't know what the future holds. We certainly hope that this season is able to come to a conclusion with a state championship, with a properly crowned champion for all 6 levels, for all 12 divisions of high school football in Texas. But this is, frankly, a grand experiment that we don't know how it's going to go. Snap goes over the head of Ferguson. Trouble in the backfield. Ball still loose. Can Malakoff get on top of it? They do. They couldn't scoop it up and do anything more with it, but either way, a huge play as the snap goes over the head of Luke Ferguson. Jimmy Mathis, the long snapper, just a bit too tall for Luke Ferguson, and a big, big play that could change momentum in this football game. 3:33 on the clock here in the second quarter, and a big opportunity for this Malakoff offense as they will take over at the Grandview 22. First and 10 for Darian Peace. He'll be in shotgun with Hart in the sidecar to his right. Play action, Peace going for the jugular on the first play of the possession, and a flag in the end zone. Kason English flagged for pass interference. They were going for Jalen Hart in the back of the end zone. Officials still discussing, but I don't believe there's going to be any change to the call here. Still some discussion between Leonard Lopez and his crew. Frankly, I'm not sure what it is that they're trying to decide here. There is the official signal. It is indeed pass interference against Kason English of the Zebras defense, and it will be, depending on where they spot this, it may be first and goal. Half the distance is going to bring it, it looks like to the 11, I think. Yeah, they'll mark it at the 11-yard line, so there will be the opportunity for Malakoff to get a first down without scoring if they can get to inside the 1-yard line. So a big penalty following the punt snap that went over the head of Luke Ferguson, and a big opportunity here for Darian Peace and the Malakoff offense. Beg your pardon, they're going to now mark it inside the 10 and call it first and goal. They're going to place the ball, it looks like at the 7-yard line. Initially, they had marked it half the distance. Instead, they walk off the full 15. Perhaps that's what the officials were conferring about. .324 on the clock here in the second quarter. 10-0 in favor of Grandview. The number 2 Zebras, the 2-time defending state champions, with a strong start to their 2020 season, jumping out to this 10-0 lead. But number 4 Malakoff looking to carve into that lead here late in the first half. Grandview, Texas, the site tonight as we start our 2020 season of high school football. Friday night football here on the WFA Digital Network, YouTube Live. Creeping up on 700 of you watching with us right now. Again, we do appreciate you joining us. Still some confusion amongst the officiating crew. I'm not sure what it is that they're trying to figure out here. There have been issues with the scoreboard all night. We're being told that that may be what the issue is here. Maybe they can't get the clock to start. It shows 3:24. The clock is on, but perhaps it's not operational. I'm not sure what exactly the issue is. Both teams now retreating to their sidelines. An impromptu timeout as the officials still try to figure out what the issue is here. Malakoff and Grandview, Texas high school football on the WFA Digital Network. Mike Leslie here with you the start of our broadcast season, the start of the Texas high school football season, the start of what is frankly a grand experiment of trying to play high school football amid a pandemic. We'll see how this goes. We're certainly hopeful, of course, that this goes well, that everyone is safe and healthy. As we have a timeout here, maybe we can give you a quick pan of the crowd, just kind of show you that they have 50% capacity here at Grandview. They've told fans that they can sit in pods with family members and people that they are regularly close to. Is on first and goal now. It's Peace, and the ball's loose. Ball's loose in the backfield. Who's able to jump on top of it? Malakoff able to recover as Darian Peace had pressure in his face immediately. Very fortunate to get back on top of it were the Malakoff Tigers, but that sets up now second and goal from outside the 10, mark it at the 14.
It's now second down and goal for the Zebras, second down and goal for the Tigers from the Zebra 14-yard line.
And now again, whistles and a stoppage of play because again the clock had shut off. It still reads 3:24, so it apparently did not run during that play. I think we're cruising toward this clock being kept on the field by the officials because evidently the scoreboard here at Grandview is causing problems, to put it mildly. Yeah, if we can maybe go ahead and show them the situation here with the scoreboard. The black and white zebra still works, but the scoreboard, unfortunately, not as much. They've been having issues with this all day. I mentioned it earlier. They actually had to drive over to Cleburne, one of the nearby towns, because they had a similar scoreboard module to run the scoreboard because the apparatus that they used to run the scoreboard wasn't working this afternoon when they showed up to start the season. So they're using a replacement part, and apparently that's not working all that much better than the original part was. Looks like the officials are going to keep it on the field for right now, as with 3:24 in the quarter, the handoff goes to Deuce Hart. Hart cutting up field, inside the 10, inside the 5, and dives down to the 3. Deuce Hart picking up all the yardage they lost on first down and then some, and sets up third down and goal. They're going to call it at the 4.
It is now third down and goal for the Tigers.
Clock still causing issues behind the play, but again, it appears, at least for the time being, that the officials are going to bypass the stadium scoreboard. Perhaps they can fix the problem during halftime. We'll see. And again, a stoppage of play. Looks like this is actually a timeout called by Malakoff, so this does not appear to be scoreboard related.
Timeout on the field.
Again, we do appreciate you joining us here on the WFAA Digital Network. YouTube Live, our platform here in 2020. A comment on our YouTube stream from Tons O Fun, that's the username, asking if there are any Grandview locals watching the stream. Tons of Fun appears to be a Grandview local themselves, says that their kids aren't at the high school yet, so they're watching from home. We do appreciate you being here with us tonight. 678 of you, 680 of you now watching here on YouTube Live. We do appreciate you joining us. Just about 3 minutes left to play in quarter number 2. 10-0 the score in favor of Grandview. They scored a field goal. They drove for a field goal to open the scoring in the first quarter. That came after a fumble that was created and recovered by Nathaniel Vargas. Then Dane Yench hit Demetrius Crown over for a touchdown pass early in the second quarter. That's our scoring so far, but Darian Peace trying to change that here on third and goal from the 3. Crowd here in Grandview getting loud, trying to make it harder on this Malakoff offense. Handoff to Hart, breaks the first tackle, cuts up field, but strung out brilliantly. Bryson Davis there to string him out Jensch there to make the tackle as well. And it will be 4th and goal from, they're going to mark him down at the 6, so actually a loss of 2 after all of that. A lot of lateral running from Deuce Hart, nothing north and south. And that's going to lead to a field goal attempt from the sophomore kicker from Malakoff, Juan Gonzalez. Lefty kicker will kick out of the hold of Judd Driscoll. That's the son of head coach Jamie Driscoll. It'll be a 21-yard field goal, and Malakoff has its first points of the 2020 football season.
Again, that was number 23, Juan Gonzalez, for the field goal of 22 yards.
Officially in-house, they're calling it a 22-yard field goal. We'll go ahead and acquiesce to their demands and call it 22 yards as well. And that makes it 10-3 in favor of the Grandview Zebras, the number 2 team in the state. Their defense standing tall once again, despite the punt snap that went over the head of Luke Ferguson, despite the pass interference penalty on the very first play of this drive that set up 1st down and goal at the 7-yard line. Despite all of that, the Grandview defense standing tall, holding Malakoff to only a field goal. And that creates our 10-3 score here with 3:21, at least on the scoreboard here in-house. It now says 3:21 left in the second quarter. I believe a good deal less than that is on the clock. But the officials, I think, are keeping that now down on the field. Hopefully they'll be able to fix that problem in the halftime break, and we'll be able to bring you time and score in a more easily accessible on-screen fashion once they fix the clock here at Grandview High. Gonzalez set to kick it away. Skylar Runyon in the comments saying, "Let's go Tigers." Gage Young saying, "Let's go for a three-peat this year, Zebras." We got fans from both schools tuning in. As the kickoff from Gonzalez goes down the right sideline and will go out of bounds. Second time today we've seen a kickoff run out of bounds. Penalty will bring it out to the 30-yard line. At this point, we're kind of guessing, frankly, at just how much time is left in the second quarter, as the clock here at Zebra Stadium has malfunctioned. We believe somewhere maybe just under 3 minutes to play, but the officials are keeping time and score on the field as it stands right now. 10-3 the score in favor of Grandview, and the Tigers come out with a 4-wide receiver set for Dane Jensch. They're going to try and make something of this final drive of the half. Near side complete for Ferguson, cross the 40 and ripped out of bounds. First down for Grandview, and very quickly they're out to their own 45-yard line. Jacob Bayer in the comments saying number 70 and 72 are his boys. That's Caleb Bayer and Jacob Bayer II. Two offensive linemen for this Grandview Zebras offense. Jacob, we appreciate you watching. Share the feed around the family, if you would. Nice throw on the far side by Dane Jensch, finding an open man. It's Case in English, and another first down. If there's one thing that you can say about Dane Jensch, and believe me, there's more than one, he does not get rattled. That is one thing that Jamie Driscoll, the head coach at Malakoff, kind of raved about when he and I spoke about Jensch earlier this week. He said he's seen the kid throw an interception and just kind of shrug, turn around, go back and play safety on defense and make a big play and turn the game around. He said there's just nothing rattles this kid, and certainly a 2-minute drive here late in the first half is not going to rattle him. 2 big completions to start the drive, and now he's looking deep downfield as he has all day. Fires on a line, complete. It's Ferguson again, and he's down inside the 20. Jensch to Ferguson once again, and they're down inside the red zone. Again, we're not sure exactly how much time is left on the clock with a malfunctioning scoreboard here at Zebra Stadium, but you have to imagine at this point it's under 2 minutes left in the second quarter as they are down inside the red zone and Jensch rolls out. Now he's going to try and run for it. Cuts upfield, across the 20, inside the 15.
Yench will keep it this time with the middle. He is tackled by number 14, Cannon Petit. Timeout on the field.
Timeout called by Grandview. (10-3) the score in favor of the Zebras, and they are threatening for more, as Dane Yench has led a quick, efficient, very well executed drive down the field. Ball is marked, I believe, at the 9-yard line after that Yench run, and it will be 1st and goal out of this timeout. Again, we're not sure exactly how much time is left on the clock here in quarter number 2. But Grandview moving quickly and moving effectively. And trying to find pay dirt here before halftime. Grandview will get the football at halftime, to start the second half as well, as they won the coin toss earlier today and deferred to the second half.
Resuming play now.
1st and goal it will be out of the timeout. Yench in shotgun. It's Leftwich in the sidecar to his left. 3 wides to the top of the formation, and he rolls that way. Now looks back on the near side. Wide open in the end zone. Touchdown, Luke Ferguson. We think our umbrella may have blocked a little bit of your view of the touchdown reception there. We apologize for that. We had the umbrella up earlier to protect all of our equipment from the sun, and the sun has long since gone down, but we didn't think to move it. That's our bad. We do apologize, but you'll have to trust me. On the receiving end on the 9-yard touchdown pass was Luke Ferguson. Dane Yench with his 2nd touchdown pass of the day. And it is 17-3 as Grandview has jumped out to a very nice start in this first half of play. Again, we're not sure exactly how much time is left on the clock here in half number 1, as the scoreboard here at Zebra Stadium has had some issues this evening. But whatever time is left, you'd have to imagine that Darian Peace and company on the Malakoff offense are going to try and make something of it, because they'd like to not go into the halftime break down 17-3, and they certainly don't want to go into the halftime break down 17-3 and then kick the ball off to start the second half to Grandview, which is the situation as it stands right now. So Peace and Deuce Hart and this Malakoff Tigers offense are certainly going to try and make something of whatever time remains here in half number 1. It was 3:21 on the clock when the malfunction happened. So we're really not sure. As a matter of fact, it's actually running right now. They've got it back running. They've brought it down to 3:13. I assure you that more than 8 seconds have gone by since the clock had its malfunction, but maybe that's a good sign that they've got it back operational, and perhaps we'll have it for the second half. But as it stands right now, still unclear how much time is left in quarter number 2. A penalty after the touchdown went against Malakoff. So instead of kicking off at their own 40, Grandview's going to kick off at the Malakoff 45. I've always personally been an advocate of an onside kick in this situation, because you've got to get it to the 35 to be able to recover it anyway. Malakoff has started pretty much every possession at about the 35, so why not kick it off to, or rather kick an onside kick and try to recover it? But Ryan Ebner not in my school of thought, apparently, at least not in this circumstance, up 17-3. I think he's pretty happy with how this first half has gone. He kicks it away, and it will be a touchback, and Malakoff's offense will start from their own 25.
After that, that will be first down and 10 for the Tigers from their own 25-yard line.
Number 2 in the state in the 3A Division I rankings. Malakoff with a 17-3 lead. I beg your pardon, Grandview with a 17-3 lead. Malakoff is number 4 in the 3A Division I state rankings. And evidently there is so little time on the clock here in the first half that they're just going to come out and take a knee and head to halftime. 17-3 at the break. A very impressive, very efficient, very well-played first half from the Grandview offense. From the Grandview football team as a whole, their defense did a fantastic job as well. And they lead it by 2 touchdowns at the break here on the season opener. Grandview back on the field. Malakoff about to make their way out. 2.5 minutes till kickoff in the second half. (17-3) the score after 1 half of play. Dane Yench with a pair of touchdown passes, one to Demetrius Crownover early on in the second quarter, one to Luke Ferguson late in the second quarter. Those are the only touchdowns we've seen tonight. A pair of field goals, one from Luke Ferguson, one from Juan Gonzalez. Those are the only 3 points so far for Malakoff, as the defense from Grandview has been outstanding. Created a fumble that was recovered by Nathaniel Vargas in the first quarter. That led to the Luke Ferguson field goal with 4:02 on the clock here in the first quarter. Then Yench hit Crownover with 10:59 to play in the second quarter, and then with under 30 seconds to play in the second quarter, Yench hit Ferguson. And that created the 17-3 advantage for Grandview at halftime. Zebras have the ball to start the second half, as Juan Gonzalez tees it up at his own 40-yard line and gets set to kick it away. Bryson Davis deep to return for Malakoff. J.J. Castillo deep as well. Gonzalez had to re-tee it, but we are ready to go for half number 2. Scoreboard appears to be working, which is encouraging. We'll get that back on your screen here momentarily as Ferguson calls for the fair catch at his own 31-yard line. And that's where Dane Yench and company will start their first possession of the second half. Fourth meeting in 707 days for these two programs. Grandview has won each of the first 3. Won in the 2018 regular season, 28-7, won the 2018 state championship game in 3A Division I against this Malakoff team, 35-21, and they won just a little under a year ago in early September, 14-13. Tonight they lead 17-3 as the second half gets underway, and the handoff to Leftwich goes nowhere. Stacked up immediately, and we've been calling Calvin Polk's name quite a bit tonight. He's done a very nice job coming from his linebacker spot. Big number 33 just looks like a linebacker. Second down and 11. Beg your pardon, second and 9 after a gain of 1. Yench, deep drop, looking deep over the middle. Has a man wide open. Oh, just through the fingertips and incomplete. Had him wide open up the seam, but Gavin Leftwich couldn't quite hang on as the ball was a little too far out in front of him. Nearly a game breaker. Instead, it's third down and 9. 5 wide receivers set for Yench. Empty backfield. Straight drop. All day in the pocket. Looking deep over the middle. Complete. Ferguson, first down.
First down. First down again, Zebra.
645 of you watching us right now on the WFAA YouTube channel. Please click the share button, click the like button. Let your friends and family around the area know that they can tune in for number 2 and number 4 in the state in 3A Division I. Grandview leading Malakoff 17-3 here early on in quarter number 2. After the completion to Ferguson, 1st and 10, the carry goes to Leftwich up the middle, pickup of 3. The offensive line for Grandview deserves a lot of credit for the way this game has gone so far. Jacob Bayer, Garrett Holmes, Caleb Bayer, Colton Hoban, and Peyton Breton, the starters left to right. And you'll see Cade Fedor out there quite a bit, Bryce Basham out there quite a bit as well. Jensch stepping up in the pocket, deep over the middle, just behind Demetrius Crownover. How do you miss 6'7", 275, right? I mean, I'm kidding. Dane Jensch is a sensational quarterback. Please understand I'm kidding. But 6'7", 275 streaking across the middle is a big, big target. But Jensch just a little bit behind him, and that'll set up 3rd down and 7. He's already hit Crownover once today for a touchdown pass. Jensch, deep drop, rolling right. Looking deep downfield into single coverage, but too far. Incomplete. Looking for Cason English, the sophomore. Flag down in the backfield. The preliminary signal from Dane Jensch is holding against the Zebras. And our official this evening, Leonard Lopez, agrees with him. You'd imagine on 3rd down that's a penalty that will be declined by Jamie Driscoll and company, and indeed it is. 4th and 7 now for the Grandview offense. Ball on the 45-yard line. Again, Jensch is their punter. Luke Ferguson also will share in the kicking duties. As we saw earlier today, he cycled into the backfield and punted the first time today for Grandview, and it looks like they're going to do the same once again. Low line drive punt, bounces inside the 25 and takes a big Grandview hop, fielded at the 6-yard line, makes the first man miss, makes another man miss, and now up the sideline comes Judd Driscoll. All 5'7", 130 pounds of him. That's the coach's son. Jamie Driscoll was telling me about his son Judd earlier this week. He said he is a talented kid, he's an athletic kid, but he's just tiny. And you see just how diminutive he is right there, but showing off the scoots and getting up the left sideline and giving a much better field position than could have been given the bounce that punt took. 10:04 on the clock here, 3rd quarter, and the first possession of the second half for Darian Peace and company. The Malakoff offense needs to get something going here in the second half. 5 wide receivers set for Peace. He's going to roll near side, fires over the top, and it flutters into the hands of Riggin Smith, complete for a first down, and they're out to the 45.
To number 12, Riggin Smith, Dane Jensch, and Nathaniel Vargas on the tackle.
One thing to keep a very close eye on here, especially when Grandview comes back onto the football field offensively. Dane Jensch, their stud quarterback, their superstar quarterback and free safety, is down on the field on the near sideline. You can see him at the very bottom of your frame right now getting worked on by the Grandview trainer. Randall Vaughn, the trainer for Grandview, trying to work out. It would seem what he's working on, the way he's kind of rubbing the calf of Jensch, that it may just be a cramp. We'll hope that that's all it is, but certainly something to keep an eye on. And he's a key piece of their defense. It's not on the field right now, but Grandview's defense up to the task right there on the bubble screen to Jalen Mosley, a loss of about a yard. And it will be 3rd down and 8.
Number 10, Braden Grass on the tackle for the Zebras. That'll bring up 3rd down and 8 for the Tigers. At their own 47. It is 3rd down.
Peace in shotgun, 4 wide receiver set. Play action. Rolling back, little screen pass for Deuce Hart. Flag on the play, and all this appears to be coming back. Nice cut from Deuce Hart to get upfield, but it looks like a hold back at the 49-yard line is going to bring this all back. And indeed it will. So they'll do third down over again. Based on the spot of that flag, it looks like they would bring it back to the 41, I believe. We'll see where they walk it off to. Well, they're walking it a lot farther than that, all the way back to the 37. And it's going to be third down and a mile here for Malakoff.
Now third down and 18. Third down.
Pressure in the face. Peace looking over the middle. Had Driscoll, but incomplete on the sideline. And on fourth and forever, they'll have to punt it away.
Number 11, Jensen Driscoll, was an intended receiver. Oh, we're at fourth down and 18 for the Tigers at their own 37-yard line.
.8:23 third quarter, and this Malakoff offense just has not been able to get something going today. Nathan Jones on to punt it away. Luke Ferguson deep to return to his own 31-yard line. Nice punt. Wobbling toward the left sideline and out of bounds. They'll mark it just inside the 30. They'll call it the 27-yard line. And will Dane Yench come back on the field? Yes, he will. Standing on the near sideline talking to the offensive coordinator, John Jay. No discernible limp, so whatever it was appears to have been rather minor for Yench. But I didn't see him come on the field for that defensive set, and that alone is uncommon for a player that is such a sensational free safety in addition to being the outstanding quarterback that he is. First and 10 from their own 27, handoff Leftwich. Give him 2 on the play. Screen pass near side, just not on target. They were trying to set up Case in English. He was coming backwards. The ball was too far upfield. Frankly, they're fortunate that it fell incomplete and that it wasn't intercepted, because if Case in English hadn't gotten his hands on it, it may have gone right into the waiting hands of Hayden Thomas, the Malakoff corner. Third down and 8. Malakoff's defense needs to get off the field here because their offense hasn't been able to do much. I don't think they can afford to fall behind by 3 scores. Third and 8, they've got an opportunity here. 3 wide receivers to the bottom of the formation for Yench. Straight drop, pressure in his face. Gets away from it, throws for Crownover, incomplete, and a flag comes in after the play. No preliminary signal just yet, but thrown in the general vicinity of what you'd expect to be perhaps a defensive hold, perhaps pass interference. And it is pass interference against the Malakoff defense, a very costly penalty on third down and 8 in a situation where I'm not sure it was necessary. That's perhaps what is most disappointing and backbreaking for Jamie Driscoll right now, the head coach for Malakoff, is that pass certainly wasn't on target enough that Crownover was going to be able to get his hands on it, whether he was interfered with or not. They had the blitz on Yench. They had flushed him from the pocket. They had forced an off-target throw. And a needless penalty gives the Grandview offense a fresh set of downs, and they're all too eager to take advantage of it. English complete over the middle. Nice move to evade the first man, taken down at the 38. Give him 7 on the play. It'll be 2nd and 3. Just about 700 of you watching with us right now on YouTube Live. Please click the share button, click the like button, send the link. Even if you have to text it, email it, we don't care. Share it with your friends and family. Let them know that they can tune in for the second half here between Grandview and Malakoff. Jensch keeps it himself here on 2nd down and 3, bowls his head forward and looks to have enough for a first down. Indeed they do. Fresh set of downs for the Zebras. Dane Jensch, in his career, 33-4 as a starter. He started a few games his freshman year. The final 5 games of the season went 4-1 in that stretch, as they had a decent playoff run that year as well. Then over the course of the last 2 years, as they've won a state championship, he's gone 29-3. So 33-4 in total, as the pass on the near side goes just about nowhere in the hands of Jaden Mangrum. Well defensed by Hayden Thomas and company. Gain of maybe a yard. It'll be 2nd down and 9. But 4-1 as a freshman, 29-3 over the course of the last 2 years in winning state championships each year. This year, if Jensch and the Zebras can go 15-1 or 16-0, he would set the all-time state record for wins as a starting quarterback. He has to get to 48 to do it. Rashad Paul went 47-0 at Bremond between 2014 and 2016. Adam Herron had 46 wins at Salina between 98 and 2000. Some of the other key names that have had sensational careers as quarterbacks. Jake Bishop went 46-2 at Aledo. Just graduated just a few months ago. His older brother, Matt Bishop, went 45-3 at Aledo between 2009 and 2011. Tyler Boyd at Dangerfield won 44 games. Kyler Murray, a name all of you know, I'm certain, won 42 games as a starter. Deep over the middle, and a big hit. Incomplete, no flag, as Luke Ferguson had it in his hands, but took a massive hit as Carter Fuller laid the wood to Luke Ferguson. It looked on first appraisal to me like that was shoulder to chest. I'll try and get another peek at it on our feed, which is a good 20 to 30 seconds behind what is on YouTube right now. I've got the stream up here in front of me, so I'll get a chance to see it a second time here in a moment. But no flag on the play, and a huge hit leveled by Carter Fuller against Luke Ferguson.
That'll make it 4th down and 7 now for the Zebras.
4th down and 7. Ferguson's off the field, so it looks like Jensch would have to punt if they're going to punt. Play clock is not currently running. Some confusion. The game clock is not running either. Of course, it was after an incomplete pass, so that wouldn't be running, but a timeout called by Grandview because they want to talk this over a little bit further. Nearly a big completion downfield from Jensch to Luke Ferguson, but Carter Fuller coming through to make a big hit. But just to get back to the point about Dane Jensch and the things that he can accomplish in his high school football career. Again, if they go either 15-1 or 16-0 and win a state championship, he would set the all-time record for wins as a starting quarterback in Texas high school football career. If they go 16-0, he'd finish 49-4 and break the record by 2 wins. 15-1, though, would do the job as well. His collegiate prospects are interesting because he's not a big kid. He's listed at 5'9", 170 pounds. He's put on some muscle. He's trimmed down a little bit over the course of this offseason. But he isn't an imposing figure. He's not your typical collegiate quarterback that's 6'2", 6'4", strapping kid. And as a result, he's received some offers, he's received some interest. Don't get me wrong, there are colleges that are interested in this young man because he is a fantastic football player, but maybe not what you'd think he'd deserve based on what he's accomplished in his career. Ryan Ebner, the head coach for Grandview, said to me that that punt is bobbled briefly by Judson Driscoll, but he's able to pounce back on top of it. And it'll be Malakoff ball at the 10-yard line. Ryan Ebner said to me that when he has coaches in his office coming to talk about Dane Yench. He says they're intrigued by him, but the size is a potential roadblock. And he says his answer to that, what he says eventually he gets to a point where he just says to these coaches, listen, do y'all want winners on your football team or not? Because very clearly Dane Yench is a winner. And some college football program is going to get a heck of a football player come next fall. But we'll see exactly who that is over the course of the next 6 or 8 months. 1st and 10 for Malakoff after the punt. They'll take over at their own 10-yard line. And this is a point at which their offense really needs to turn something on. 5:17 to play here in the third quarter. They haven't been able to produce much. The 3 points they have on the board came courtesy of a very short drive that came after a fumble, a punt snap that went over the head of punter Luke Ferguson. So they have not been able to sustain drives over the course of the evening. We'll see if they can change that here. Handoff to Deuce Hart, cuts upfield, nice move. Cut down at the 12. Give him 6 on the play, and it's Yench who makes the tackle.
Deuce Hart on the carry. Tackle made by Dane Yench. 7-yard gain on the carry. 2nd down and 3 now for the Tigers. Their own 12-yard line.
Second and 3 for Peace. Play action to Hart, going to keep it himself on the read option, cuts upfield, breaks through a tackle, and he's off to the races. Darian Peace trying to break away. He's across midfield, inside the 40, inside the 30. Darian Peace up the left sideline. Peace to the house. Touchdown, Malakoff. 88 yards for the touchdown, and a lightning strike from Darian Peace. .88 yards from Darian Peace, and now he's having to be helped back to his feet. He's exhausted. They're going to carry him. Hopefully he's okay. I don't know if he's injured or if he's just exhausted. A sensational run from the senior quarterback. 88 yards off the read option, taking it off left guard, breaking a tackle just as he got to the second level, breaking another tackle as he got into the secondary, and then showing off the speed and the elusiveness as he kind of took a serpentine path to get away from Clayton Hale, who was giving chase. And he got up the left sideline and into the end zone, and that is the play that this Malakoff offense has been searching for all night long. Finally, they find it. And a big opportunity here for the Tigers to carve into the lead and steal a little bit of momentum as well as they cut it to 17-10. What a run by Darian Peace. The leader of this football team for sure, offensively and defensively. And I believe, is that him still down here on the sideline? Maybe he's cramping up now. We saw Dane Yench struggling with that earlier. I can't see a number to be definitively sure whether that's Peace or someone else for Malakoff. But it would appear that, similar to what we saw with Yench earlier with the massage of that calf, that perhaps he's cramping. It is, believe me, a very hot night here in Grandview. It was 105 at its peak earlier today, and still at 9:29 at night, it is 92 degrees. It feels like 99. It's kind of laughable just how hot today was for late August. And these kids are having to play through that. And Darian Peace with an 88-yard run having to do a little extra as compared to what most would have to in any given football game. But a big run from Peace, and that makes this a one-score game with 4:27 to play in quarter number 3. 750 of you watching with us right now on the WFAA YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, folks. We really appreciate you guys being here tonight. We hope you'll join us next week as well. Paris and Salina, two of the top teams in 4A, squaring off. That is where we are next week on Friday Night Football. First down carry went for about a yard, but there was a flag right at the snap. Officials still sorting things out. It'll be a false start against Grandview. So they'll replay first down, 1st and 15 now. And in true 2020 fashion, there is quite a political conversation happening in the comments on our YouTube channel. I'm not going to wade into that one. I'm just going to focus on the football game, but you guys have fun. 1st and 15, Yench hands off to Leftwich up the middle, and he's able to fight his way back close to the original line of scrimmage. Maybe a pickup of 4. Second and 11, Yench in shotgun, Leftwich in the side car to the right, 4 wide receiver set. 4-man rush from Malakoff. Screen set up, and they couldn't hit Leftwich. And it'll be 3rd down and long. Let us know in the comments, who are you rooting for? Where are you watching from? Is there a particular athlete that you're tuning in to see? We saw earlier today the father of Jacob and Caleb Bayer was tuning in. 2 of the offensive and defensive linemen for this Grandview team. So please let us know who you're tuning in to see, where you're watching from tonight here on Friday Night Football. 3rd down and 11. Yench looking near side, complete for English, little hook and lateral, and it works to perfection up the near sideline, and for a 1st down comes Gavin Leftwich. You can't execute it any better than that. 1st down across midfield, and Grandview is willing to pull out all the stops tonight. Up the middle, Leftwich, and the ball came loose. They're gonna blow the whistle, and Malakoff is not gonna like that call at all. Jamie Driscoll standing on the far sideline, pointing in the opposite direction, saying that should be Tigers football. But the inadvertent, I don't even know if I would say inadvertent whistle, but perhaps a slightly quick whistle ends the play, and that's it. There is no overturning that. There's no discussing that. That whistle ends the play, and there was no fumble as a result. It stays Grandview football, 2nd down and 9. Just over 3 minutes to play, 3rd quarter, in a 17-10 Grandview football game. Pitch on the right-hand side goes for Bryson Davis. Davis cutting upfield, breaking 1 tackle and trying to rip his jersey free. Maybe picks up 4 on the play. And it'll be 3rd down. And we'll say about 6. Gary Bryan in the comments saying, enjoying the game from Seattle, Washington. People watching from all over the place. Mel Y says he's watching from Phoenix. K. Mass 1976 says Malakoff all the way, says they're deployed for the hurricane. Sullivan Wall says watching from Southern California, says he's a strength and conditioning coach. As deep downfield, and that's definitely going to draw a flag as Kason English was being pulled from behind by Hayden Thomas. That was a no-doubter of a flag. That'll likely be a hold as opposed to pass interference. That is indeed what it is, defensive holding. Automatic 1st down on what was 3rd down and about 6. Hayden Thomas tried to get away with one there. Gage Young says in the comments, says, hey, reporter, I know you got to stay neutral, but who you got in this game? You're right, I do have to stay neutral. That's part of the job, my friend. To paraphrase or kind of channel my best Texas Rangers, there shall be no wagering or betting of any kind. This is high school football. 1st down and 10 after the penalty. Ball sits at the 34-yard line. 2 wides to the bottom of the formation for Jensch. 1 to the top side, 2 backs in the backfield with him. One of them is Davis, fakes the handoff to him, throws over the middle for Luke Ferguson. First down across the 25, down inside the 20, and down to the 16-yard line. That has been the most dangerous connection today for the Grandview offense. Jensch to Ferguson. They have been fantastic. They've hooked up for a touchdown. They have been very effective finding space over the middle, and Jensch has hit Ferguson multiple times tonight, and that sets up 1st and 10 at the 16. Now 3 wides to the bottom of the formation for Jensch as we're down under 2 minutes to play here in quarter number 3. Jensch. Deep, too tall for Case in English. He's looking for a flag again, not going to get it this time.
Jensch's pass ball is incomplete, intended for number 13, Case in English. 2nd down and 10 for the Zebras.
Nature Trail says they're tuning in from Norman, Oklahoma, now up over 800 people watching. Rob says he's watching from Minneapolis, Minnesota, watching because you guys still have sports there, talking about Texas. I'm assuming John Davis is kidding when he says he's watching from Wuhan, China. I'm not even going to touch that any further than mentioning it. 2nd down and 10. 1:44 on the clock here in the 3rd. Jensch, straight drop out of shotgun. Looking deep, right corner of the end zone, too tall for Luke Ferguson. He was wide open as a shoe came off, in fact, for one of the Malakoff defenders. Looks like it was Carter Fuller, the same young man who laid a big hit on Ferguson earlier in the football game. Ernest Light says he's tuning in from Arkansas, glad to have high school football playing. Graciela Saldana says she's watching from right here in Grandview, Texas, where we are. 3rd down and 10 for Jensch. Short snap. They're going to actually snap it to Leftwich. With a little reverse here. They're going to throw it. Open is Jensch. Makes a move. Jensch into the end zone. Touchdown, Grandview. The razzle-dazzle from Grandview, Case in English taking the reverse pitch from Gavin Leftwich, rolling to the right and hitting the quarterback Dane Jensch out of the backfield for the touchdown. And Grandview reestablishes their 2-touchdown lead as Jensch made a couple of beautiful moves to get into the end zone. Extra point is good. Case in English and Jensch on the receiving end. This kid has scored touchdowns in every way imaginable. He's run for plenty in his career, thrown for certainly more than anything else he's done, but now a receiving score as well here with 1:32 on the clock in the 3rd quarter. And the Grandview Zebras have reestablished their 2-touchdown lead at 24-10. It was nearly, if we're really being honest here, it was nearly a disaster. That ball almost broke loose as Leftwich pinched it to Case in English, and English kind of had to hang on a second and reach back behind him to corral that football as he came behind the formation on the reverse, but he was able to keep his hands on it, got a hold of it, and found a wide open Dane Jensch. Jensch made 2 men miss inside the 10-yard line on his way into the end zone, and it's 24-10 in favor of Grandview. Kickoff is away, fielded by Deuce Hart over his head, and finally corralled at the 6. But now he's got some running room, cross the 20, gets the corner, cross the 30. Look at Deuce Hart go, skips his way across another tackler, and he's down to the midfield stripe. A fantastic return of 44 yards from Deuce Hart. Player down on the field behind the play is a Malakoff Tiger. Can't get a look at the number just yet. My best guess is that that's Calvin Polk, number 33, who we've called his name quite a bit tonight from the linebacker position. He is struggling heavily to get off the field. That is indeed who that is. keep an eye on whether or not he can come back on the field this evening. What a return by Deuce Hart all the way out to midfield. Best field position of the day for Malakoff, save for after the punt snap that went over Luke Ferguson's head. That's where their first 3 points of the day came from, a short drive off of that snap. Very similar to this one. Darian Peace able to scramble back on top of it and throws it out of bounds. Is there a receiver in the area? Grandview's complaining for a flag. None has come yet, and I don't think one is coming. Darian Peace is going to get away with that one. A little bit of a magic trick to escape the backfield there after the snap that went through his legs. And it'll be 2nd and 10 from right at the 50. .103 third quarter. Plenty of time for this Malakoff team to engineer a comeback, but this would be an opportunity that they'd be wise to capitalize on starting at midfield. Peace coming near side, has a lead blocker, cuts upfield, cross the 45, slides down at the 40, flag behind the play. The run was enough for a first down, but it appears it's going to come back. And indeed it will. Bring it all the way back to the 40-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 20. Feel bad for offensive coordinator Scott Lane because there's not a whole lot of plays in the playbook for 2nd and 20. We'll see what he can draw up here. Peace rolling to the right, throws to the right. Driscoll fights his way forward for a few.
Complete.
41 seconds to play here, third quarter. 3rd down, we'll call it 16. They've got to get to the opposite 40-yard line to pick up a first down. And they could really use some momentum here. Near side, complete, but short of the first down as ripped out of bounds was Reagan Smith. Did a nice job to corral the football as it tried to break loose as he made the grab. We'll see what Grandview, I beg your pardon, see what Malakoff decides to do here. 4th down and 4 at the 44. Big decision to make here. And they're going to wait until the 4th quarter to make that decision. 24-10 after 3. Grandview looking to start what they hope will be a 3rd straight run to a state championship. A good 3 quarters in the books, but they got work to do to finish off the Malakoff Tigers. Come back for the 4th and see if they can pull it off.
After 3 quarters of play, the score remains Grandview 24, Malakoff 10.
.803 of you joining us tonight on the WFAA YouTube channel for number 2 Grandview and number 4 Malakoff in a 24-10 game. Grandview with that 14-point edge thanks to 3 touchdowns tonight from Dane Yench. 2 of them he was the quarterback for. 1 he was on the receiving end. A little trick play as Grandview ran a reverse. The snap went directly to Gavin Leftwich. He pitched it back to Cason English on the reverse, and English found Yench wide open. And Yench got into the end zone after making a couple of guys miss. That made it 24-10 late there in quarter number 3. Now to start the fourth quarter, 4th and 4 for Malakoff, and it looks like they're going to go for it here. Peace, quarterback draw, and he's got enough for the first down, just barely got to the 40-yard stripe, but it's enough. And a gutty decision from Jamie Driscoll and a gutty run from Darian Peace to pick up the first down and keep the sticks moving 10 seconds in here to quarter number 4.
First and 10 Tigers at the 39-yard line.
It was a patient run. Just picked his way to finally get across that 40-yard stripe and pick up the first down. Now on play action on 1st and 10. Rolling right and just has to throw it away as he got leveled. And they're going to call a late hit here. Flag flies in late. It was Matt Leonard who knocked him out of bounds and came up kind of with his palms to the sky like, what did I do? Can't believe the call. Officials still discussing it right now. Again, our officiating crew this evening, Leonard Lopez, the crew chief. He and 2 others discussing right now. Ken McCuna, Chris Demers, Chris Mangum, and Cedric Tisby, our 5-man crew tonight. And 3 of them still discussing this flag that flew in late for a late hit on Matt Leonard. Conference over. We'll see what Lopez has to say here. And it is indeed a personal foul for a late hit against Matt Leonard. Would have been 2nd down and 10 after the incompletion at the 39-yard line. Instead, that's going to move the ball all the way down to the 24 and a fresh 1st and 10 for this Malakoff offense. Down 14 right now, early 4th quarter. But a big opportunity here as they've been gifted a free 15 yards.
Results in the penalty is first down and 10 to the Tigers. At the 24-yard line.
Peace with 2 backs in the backfield with him on 1st and 10. Hands off, right side, stiff arm, cross the 20-yard line and right to the 20-yard line as to Keenan Langley for the first time today getting a carry. Langley, a 200-pound senior. Not as quick-footed as Deuce Hart, but a little change of pace, and the 2 of them together can be a very effective backfield. We've seen what Deuce Hart can do tonight, and of course we've seen what Darian Peace can do. Here goes Hart once again, stepping through a would-be tackler and finally tripped up as he got down to the 15. Close to first down yardage. It'll depend on the spot here. And yes, indeed, he does have enough for the first down.
First down yardage for the Tigers. First and 10 now, Tigers at the 14-yard line.
1st and 10 at the 14. Again, 2 backs in the backfield with him. Hart takes the handoff to Keenan Langley out in front of him, blocking, and there goes Hart into the end zone, but again a flag. Darian Peace turns around, palms to the sky like, what did we do now? It's a hold again against this Malakoff offense, and what could have been a touchdown that would cut the lead in half is coming back. We'll see where they walk it off to here. In order to get a first down, they have to get to the 4-yard line. Ball sits now at the 24, so 1st and 20 now for Darian Peace and company. Hart and Langley in the backfield with them. Peace, straight drop. Deep over the middle, into the end zone, jump ball, too tall, incomplete, intended for Riggin Smith.
That'll bring up 2nd down and 20 for the Tigers at the 24-yard line.
10:26 to play, 4th quarter. 24-10 in favor of Grandview. 2 touchdown passes from Dane Yench, 1 to Demetrius Crownover, 1 to Luke Ferguson, and a reception for a touchdown by Yench. The 3 touchdowns for Grandview as Hart cuts upfield, gets down to the 16 is where they'll spot him. Sets up 3rd down and about 12. Malakoff's 1 touchdown today was electric. electric. An 88-yard touchdown run from Darian Peace. But they need more right now, especially here on 3rd and a dozen. 3 wides to the top of the formation. Hart in the backfield with him. Peace looking right, fires right, complete. It's Smith. Does he have enough for a first down? It'll depend on the spot. Right at the first down marker as Peace rifled a laser into the chest of Riggin Smith. And it will be enough for a Malakoff first down. It's 1st and goal at the 4. 9.5 minutes and moving 4th quarter. 3 wides to the bottom of the formation. Hart with Peace in the backfield. Peace cuts upfield, cuts back, dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Malakoff. And I feel like this needs to be said, no flags. The touchdown will stand. Malakoff again cuts the lead down to a single score. Nine minutes, 22 seconds on the clock here in the 4th, as the extra point from Juan Gonzalez is up and through, and the lead is cut to 7 once again. 24-17 with over 9 minutes in the 4th quarter. The Malakoff Tigers, number 4 in the state and not going away. We could have a fun finish in front of us, folks. Malakoff set to kick it away. 9:22 on the clock, and again they've cut the lead down to 7. 24-17 the score. It will be Gonzalez to kick it away once again. Castillo and Davis deep for Grandview. Best kickoff of the day so far for Juan Gonzalez. Goes through the end zone. Touchback, and it'll be Grandview ball at their own 25. So back comes Yench and company, and this is a big spot, especially for the Malakoff Tigers defense. They've been good today. This is a spot where they could really afford to come up with a stop. Yench in shotgun, 3 wides to the bottom of the formation. 4 down linemen for the Malakoff defense. Handoff up the middle, nowhere to go for Gavin Leftwich. Give him maybe a yard or two as he was able to dive forward.
25, Zach Stanley on the tackle. 2-yard gain on the play, 2nd down and 8.
Call it 2nd and 8. Yench with an empty backfield. 5 wides, 3 to the bottom, 2 to the top. Straight drop for Yench. All day in the pocket. Has to fire on the far side for Leftwich out of the backfield. I beg your pardon, he wasn't in the backfield. He was in the slot on that particular play. Had a short route and picks up enough for the first down.
Tackle made by number 25, Zach Stanley. 1st and 10, Zebras at their own 38-yard line.
Ball out to the 38, 1st and 10 for Yench. Leftwich again in the backfield with him. 4 wides, 2 to either side. 4-3 defense coming at him from Malakoff, and what a play by Hayden Thomas. read that brilliantly, fought his way through the block of Luke Ferguson, and ended that play before anybody had a chance to do anything. Luke Kirkpatrick caught the ball and caught a face full of Hayden Thomas. Call it a loss of 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 15. Ball sits on their own 33. Grandview's got to get to the 48 for a first down. Straight drop, trying to set up the screen. Dangerous pass. Falls harmlessly incomplete. He was trying to hit Gavin Leftwich on the screen, and there were 2 Malakoff defenders in the area. Charles Spencer IV in the comment saying that his comment is, we need some big plays. I'm assuming he means Grandview to finish this game. He says because the Tigers won't go away, and at least so far he's been spot on with that. Malakoff has been difficult to put away for Grandview tonight. Deep over the middle, 2 wide receivers in the area. It's complete. Luke Kirkpatrick was over there, so too was Cason English. It's English who makes the grab, and that gets them close to first down yardage, but not quite enough. And it sets up 4th down and a long 2, and it looks like they're going to decide to punt the football away here. Ryan Ebner not willing to go for it in his own territory with a 7-point lead. I would argue a smart decision in this circumstance, force Malakoff to drive the distance of the field. But perhaps a different decision as they bring out the heavy package. Now they're going to back up and perhaps rethink the decision. Jensch stepping back into a short shotgun set. Rolling to the right, he is going to go for it. Tries to cut up field. Does he have enough for the first down? It's going to depend on the spot. The far side ref had him mark with the first down. The near side ref confirms it. First down, Grandview. A gutty decision by Ryan Ebner to go for it in that spot on his own side of the field. With a 7-point lead and 7 minutes on the clock in the 4th quarter, puts it in the hands of his all-world quarterback. Now the Malakoff sideline is freaking out because they think that the spot is now short of the line to gain. The near side line judge very clearly signaled first down. Now where the football is sitting looks like it's very much short of the line to gain. That is an entirely different spot than what they were initially going with. But if that's where the football is, when they pull this chain tight, it still is a zebra first down. The fans in front of us would have lost their minds if that was short of the line to gain. Instead, it's first down Grandview at their own 48-yard line. 6:38 and moving 4th quarter. This game somewhat akin to last year's 14-13 Grandview win, coming right down to the wire. Can Malakoff get the football back without allowing Dane Jensch to put more points on the scoreboard? He stumbles his way across midfield and down to the 45.
Bottom of 21, Jalen Mosley. 7-yard gain on the play. 2nd down and 3 now for the Zebras at the Tiger 45 red line.
It'll be 2nd down, and we'll call it 3. Jensch in shotgun. Looking to the near side, looking at his offensive coordinator, John Jay, trying to get the signals and figure out what they're going to do here on 2nd down and 3. High snap, but Jensch is able to catch it, but Leftwich with nowhere to go, stacked up immediately. Nice defensive play by Brandon Nations, and it will be 3rd down and about 5. Big 3rd down here for the Malakoff defense. They need a stop in a big way because the clock is quickly evaporating. 5:15 and moving here in the 4th quarter. They do not explicitly list out on the scoreboard timeouts remaining, but if memory serves, Malakoff does have all 3 of their timeouts remaining here in the second half. 3rd down and 5. Yench going to go to the air. Fires near side. Clayton Hale. Big hit, but enough for the first down. Tell you what, Carter Fuller can bring the wood. He did so there. He broke up a completion earlier today to Luke Ferguson that would have been a catch if it weren't for the hit that Fuller laid to Grandview's number 2. This time, 82. Clay Hale is able to hang on, and that moves the sticks. Ball now to the 39-yard line in Malakoff territory. And again, this Malakoff defense has to find a way to make a stop here. 1st and 10 for Yench. Handoff up the middle for Leftwich, and this time nowhere to go. Kind of tripped as he took the handoff. It'll go down as a loss of 2 back to the 40, a loss of 1. They'll mark it at the 40. It'll be 2nd and 11. Seeing a comment in the feed here on YouTube asking how many offers Dane Yench has. That's a topic that, well, it's a little bit unknown, frankly, exactly how many schools have offered. There are several schools that have shown interest, but because of his size, there have been some schools that have backed off, maybe rethought that. Ryan Ebner says, hey, do you guys want winners on your program or not? And this kid is absolutely a winner, trying to pick up another win right here, what would be his 34th win as a starting quarterback if they can finish this one off here. Clock now down to 3:20, and I would say that certainly Jamie Driscoll needs to start considering using his timeouts.
4-yard gain on the play. It's 3rd down and 7 now for the Zebras.
3rd and 7. 3:08 and moving, 4th quarter. 24-17, Grandview with the lead. And Malakoff still yet to use a timeout here in the second half. Under 3, and still Yench waits to snap the football. And now a flag for a false start is going to go, at least the preliminary signal was a false start. As you can hear, the Grandview fans don't like that call, but it will go down as a false start, and 3rd and 7 will become 3rd and 12 with 2:47 on the clock here in quarter number 4. Big spot here for the Malakoff defense. Can they get off the field here and get the ball back in the hands of their quarterback, Darian Peace? We talked about it earlier, the game a year ago between these two teams in early September, a 14-13 Grandview win. Malakoff drove down and scored what should have been the game-tying touchdown. A celebration penalty created a 15 yards longer PAT that was missed, and that was the difference in the football game. Can they get the ball back and try and tie the game here? Over the middle and incomplete, nearly intercepted, as standing there waiting was Ricky Harris. I beg your pardon, Calvin Polk. But it falls incomplete. Now 4th and 12, ball on the 41, 2:20 on the clock, 4th quarter. And you would certainly think that Ryan Ebner and the Grandview Zebras would punt the football away in this circumstance. 4th and a dozen is a lot different than the 4th and about 2.5 they were dealing with just shy of midfield a few moments ago. It's a short set here for Ferguson, but we've seen them punt out of this already today. Low snap, and they're going to have to try and run for it. Nowhere to go for Castillo, and that's going to be a huge change in field position for Malakoff, as the snap that's the second time today now that Grandview has had an issue with the punt snap. That ball didn't even get to Luke Ferguson. J.J. Castillo, the up back, had it hit him in the foot. He tried to pick it up and run with it. Nowhere to go, and Malakoff will take over at their own 39 instead of what could have easily been inside their own 20-yard line. 61 yards away from a game-tying touchdown. 2:16 on the clock in the 4th, and they start at their own 39. Darian Peace, the senior, third-year starter at quarterback for Malakoff. trying to engineer a comeback here. Throws on the right side, in and out of the hands of his intended target, Jalen Hart, and incomplete. Both touchdowns today for Malakoff have come courtesy of their quarterback, Darian Peace. An 88-yard touchdown run and a 4-yard touchdown run. This time the handoff goes to Deuce Hart. The junior running back spins his way for 2, and it'll be 3rd down and 8. 2 minutes on the clock and moving fourth quarter. And already on this pivotal drive, a big 3rd down staring in the face of Darian Peace. Play action, right side, complete. Hart short of the 1st down, maybe by a yard or 2. They spotted at the 48. They've got to get to the 49, and the clock is at least momentarily stopped at 1:36. I think they marked him out of bounds. So 4th and 1 for Darian Peace and the Malakoff offense. Their head coach, Jamie Driscoll, said it to me earlier this week. They feel like they have failed against Malakoff 3 consecutive times. They don't want to fail again. They want revenge tonight. They need 4th and 1 if they're going to get it. Peace under center. Handoff up the middle, fighting his way forward, 1st down. Deuce Hart picks up the 1st down and keeps the sticks moving for the Malakoff offense. They're right to the midfield stripe. .129 on the clock. Ryan Ebner signaling to his defense. Clock now winds as they set the sticks down to 1:19. Peace will be in shotgun once again on 1st and 10. 50 yards from a game-tying touchdown. Throws on the right side, complete. Yes, it is. On the sideline, he hits Jalen Hart. Beg your pardon, it's Riggin Smith on the receiving end. 1st down, Malakoff down to the 39. And importantly, out of bounds, 1:07 on the clock, and it stops there. Peace looking to the sideline for the play. Offensive coordinator Scott Lane trying to draw up a game-tying touchdown drive. Play action. Peace is going to keep it himself on the read option. Bowls his way forward across the 35. And with 59.3, Jamie Driscoll will call timeout. What a game we have seen tonight in our inaugural broadcast of the 2020 Friday Night Football season. 24-17, the Grandview Zebras lead the Malakoff Tigers with 59 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter.
Again, no fans allowed on the field or down at the field house while players are present.
Announcements being made here in-house, certainly a different set of protocols here at Zebra Stadium as compared to the normal because of COVID-19. Not allowing any fans of any kind, parents or otherwise, to go down on the field post-game. But there's a lot that needs to happen between now and when we get to post-game time. 59 seconds left on the clock, and Malakoff wants to be playing a 5th quarter here tonight. It started with a Luke Ferguson field goal for Grandview to take a 3-0 lead after a fumble recovery by Nathaniel Vargas. Then 3 touchdowns from Dane Yench, 2 passing, 1 to Demetrius Crownover, 1 to Luke Ferguson. Then he was on the receiving end from Cason English. Those are the 4 scores for Grandview. Malakoff had a field goal from Juan Gonzalez to make it 10-3, an 88-yard touchdown run from Darian Peace to make it 17-10, and a 4-yard touchdown run from Peace to make it 24-17. And now Peace looking to tie the football game, looking into the end zone, just shy of it, complete. Did he get to the pylon? Touchdown, Malakoff. Nathan Jones on the receiving end, and Malakoff is an extra point away from tying the football game.
Pass was completed, number 17, Nathan Jones. He pushes the ball just across the goal line.
Darian Peace matching Dane Yench. 3 touchdowns from each of the 2 quarterbacks tonight. And one extra point stands between these two football teams as Zamir Ruiz hobbles his way off the field. A timeout called by Malakoff. Now remember, we talked about it earlier, the matchup a year ago, a little under a year ago, early September, these two teams played last year. It was a 14-13 Grandview win. Malakoff drove down the field and scored what they thought was going to be the game-tying touchdown with about 5 or 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. A celebration penalty after the touchdown cost them 15 yards on the PAT, and as a result, the PAT was missed. That was the difference in the football game, as Grandview was able to work several of the remaining minutes off the clock, and Malakoff was not able to seriously challenge late in the fourth quarter of that game when they did finally get the football back. Tonight, an opportunity here to atone for that mistake and kick the extra point here and tie the football game up with 48.4 seconds left on the clock here in the fourth quarter. It'll be the sophomore Juan Gonzalez to kick the extra point out of the hold of junior Judd Driscoll, the coach's son. The snap from Cannon Poteet with 48.4 on the clock to tie the football game. Snap is good, hold is down, the PAT is on the way and through. Tie football game at 24.
48 seconds left to play in the game. Score is now tied 24-24.
There are so many questions about whether or not high school football should be played right now. There are plenty, I'm sure, watching right now that would say no. I'm sure there are plenty, of course, that would say yes. There are plenty of folks here in attendance at Zebra Stadium that would say absolutely. I'm not sure what the right answer is, but I can tell you this much for certain. This is fun. I don't know if it's the right decision or not, but this is fun. Tie football game at 24 with 48.4 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Malakoff coming all the way back. They trailed by 14 on 2 different occasions. They trailed 17-3 at halftime. They trailed 24-10 after the razzle-dazzle case in English on the reverse, throwing it to Dane Yench for the touchdown late in the third. But 2 touchdowns in the fourth, a Darian Peace 4-yard touchdown run, and a Darian Peace to Nathan Jones touchdown pass with 48 seconds left, and we are tied late in the fourth here at Zebra Stadium. Gonzalez set to kick the football away, kicks it high in the air and over the head and checks up. That is a dangerous football right now for Grandview, picked up very fortunately for the Zebras by Jalen Hart. I beg your pardon, by Bryson Davis. He's taken down at the 6-yard line. 45.3 seconds left. We'll see whether there's any time here in regulation for either team to do anything with this scenario. But certainly the Malakoff defense is fired up right now, and they can smell blood. Almost 900 of you watching with us right now here on the WFAA YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And please share the link to the broadcast with your friends and family, because this one looks like it's going to OT. We'll see if Malakoff and Grandview can do anything about that here in the final 40 seconds. Handoff up the middle. Not a whole lot of running room for Gavin Leftwich. And they very well may just let time expire here in regulation. They're back to the line of scrimmage, so they're maybe not content to quite pack it in just yet and go to OT. Yench at a shotgun. Let's see what they can draw up here in the final 15 seconds of the game. Yench takes off up the left sideline, out across the 20 to the 21.
Yench on the quarterback scramble. He takes it out to 20-yard line. First down, Zebras.
11.7 on the clock. At least one more snap here in the fourth for Jens to try and come up with some magic. Pressure in his face. Nowhere to go with it, and he's taken down in the backfield. Nice pursuit by the defensive line of Malakoff, and coming through to finish him off was Kavion Davis. And that will be the final play of regulation. We are headed to overtime at Zebra Stadium. 24 apiece. Who's having fun?
As we enter into an overtime period, the coaches will go to midfield. Look forward to see who plays offense and defense first in overtime. Both teams will get a shot from the opponent's 25-yard line for a fresh set of downs.
Head coaches and officials meeting at midfield. As you may have just heard from the public address announcer, each team will have a shot from the 25-yard line with a fresh set of downs, very similar to collegiate overtime rules. For all intents and purposes, identical to collegiate overtime rules. We'll have top and bottom halves of each overtime. What a football game we have had tonight to start off the 2020 season here at Zebra Stadium. 24 all as we head to OT. Grandview started the scoring with Luke Ferguson's 25-yard field goal. That came courtesy of a fumble recovery from Nathaniel Vargas. They scored with 4:02 left in the first quarter, and those were the opening points of the 2020 high school football season for these two teams. Grandview took a 10-0 lead on a Dane Jens to Demetrius Crownover 7-yard touchdown pass early in the second quarter. And then Malakoff finally got on the board. A 22-yard Juan Gonzalez field goal that came off of a punt snap that went over the head of Grandview punter Luke Ferguson. That set up a short field for the Tigers, and they capitalized with 3. But then Grandview scored late in the first half, under 30 seconds to play in the first half. Jens hit Luke Ferguson on a 9-yard touchdown pass, and it was 17-3 Zebras at the break, but Malakoff came all the way back. Darian Peace with an 88-yard touchdown run to make it 17-10 midway through the third quarter. Grandview took a 14-point lead again, 24-10, thanks to Cason English hitting Dane Jens on a little reverse pass back to the quarterback, but then Darian Peace with a touchdown run and a touchdown pass to Nathan Jones in the fourth, the final one with 48 seconds left. And that's how we get to OT, where Grandview will have the first possession in the top half of overtime number 1. Handoff goes up the middle in the hands of Gavin Leftwich, and he fights his way forward for a pickup of 5 right to the 20-yard stripe.
Gavin Leftwich on the carry. Tackle made by 25, Zach Studley. Gain of 5 yards on the play. Second down and 5. For the Zebras at the Tiger 20.
Yench in shotgun. Second down and 5, 4 wide receiver set. Looking left, swings it on the left-hand side for Leftwich. Has some running room in front of him. Nicely pursued and cut down. Nice tackle made by Jalen Mosley to cut him down shy of first down yardage. Pick up a 4 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 1 for the Zebras.
At the Tiger 16-yard line.
First 2 overtimes, you can go for a PAT. Starting with the 3rd overtime, you have to go for 2. We'll deal with that if we get to that point. Dane Yench cutting left into the end zone. Touchdown, Zebras. Dane Yench puts Grandview back in front. Dane Yench on the 16-yard touchdown run, keeping it off left guard. And the 4-time state title game MVP, offense and defense in back-to-back years, going for his 34th career win, puts his team in front, 31-24 after the PAT goes through. And now Malakoff has to answer.
This time the Zebras are going to defense. Tigers on offense. In order to prolong the game, Malakoff must score at least 7.
Grandview's defense was very good in the first half, holding Malakoff to only the 3 points. In the second half, the Tigers' offense finally got untracked a little bit. Peace had the 88-yard touchdown run. That was the lightning bolt that really changed this football game. Then they drove down the field for another score. Peace finishing it off with a 4-yard touchdown run early in the fourth to cut the lead to 7. And then they drove the length of the field, 61 yards in 2 minutes and 16 seconds to tie the football game late in regulation. Now they try to do it again in overtime. It's Peace keeping it himself, trying to follow the tracks of his fellow quarterback Dane Yench. Gets to the left side, picks up the first down, and it'll be 1st and goal as they mark it at the 10.
First and goal for the Tigers from the 10-yard line.
Malakoff needs a touchdown and an extra point to match what Grandview did in the top half of the first overtime. And now a timeout called by Malakoff as they want to talk things over here prior to 1st and goal. Michael Riley in the comments here on YouTube says, well, WFAA, you guys are getting your money's worth on this one. My friend, you are not kidding. We have had fun tonight here in Grandview. 31-24 the score in favor of the Zebras rather. Tigers trying to match it here in overtime number 1. They'll have 1st and goal with the football sitting right on the 10-yard stripe after a 15-yard pickup from Darian Peace on the first play of this bottom half of OT1. Darian Peace has matched the production of Dane Yench at every turn in this football game. 3 TDs apiece in regulation. Now he's got to do it again here in OT. He'll be in shotgun. He's got 2 backs with him in the backfield. Hart to his right to Keenan Langley to his left. Hart gets the handoff, breaks to the left-hand side, gets out around the corner, and maybe picks up about 4. He had Demetrius Crownover hunting him, but was just quick enough to get by the big 6'7", 275-pound defensive end and get to the edge. That was enough to get him down to just outside the 5-yard line. And 2nd and goal will come from there. Peace again in shotgun. Two wides to the near side. The snap is dribbled on the ground, but Hart picks it up. Hart getting to the outside, trying to cut upfield, lunging forward, but taken down at the 2. A very heads-up and athletic play from Deuce Hart to save that from being a disaster, as the snap was dribbled at the feet of Darian Peace and really kind of kicked to the left right at Deuce Hart. So he just scooped it up and ran with it and gets all the way down to the 2-yard line. The officials talking to the near sideline, head coach Ryan Ebner and company. I'm not entirely sure about what, frankly. There was no flag on the play, as it will be 3rd and goal from just inside the 2-yard line. Peace will be in shotgun, Hart to his left. Shotgun snap. Peace going to keep it himself, running off left guard, stacked up and pushed back. He lost a yard. Matt Leonard coming in to make the play, and it's 4th and goal. Malakoff will have one final chance. Ball sits on the 3-yard line after a loss of a yard. And the Tigers have to find pay dirt. Every fan on the near side on their feet for the Grandview Zebras. Frankly, the same can be said on the far side for the Malakoff fans. It's Peace in shotgun, Hart to his left, and a whistle before the snap and a timeout called by Grandview. They want to talk things over and make sure they have the defense they want here for 4th and goal. So everybody takes a deep breath. You could almost hear the whole stadium take a deep breath as the timeout was called. And everybody will have a chance to breathe for a moment before 4th and goal for the Malakoff Tigers. Ball sits on the 3-yard line. Darian Peace had a 15-yard run to start this bottom half of OT number 1 for Malakoff. Got the ball down to the 10. Deuce Hart took it off the left edge to get down to the 6. Hart with a very heads-up play on a snap that was dribbled on the ground on 2nd down and goal that he actually turned into a 4-yard gain to get the ball down inside the 2. But on 3rd and goal, they were stacked up and pushed back as Peace tried to take it himself off left guard. The loss of a yard sets up 4th and goal from the 3. And here once again to their feet come the Grandview section. 4th and goal from the 3. Peace in shotgun, 3 wides to the right. Motion man across the formation. He'll roll to the left. Peace pressured, ball on the ground, it's over. Demetrius Crownover with the strip sack to end it, and Grandview wins it in overtime. Crownover and Peace share a moment afterwards as Crownover congratulates Peace on a fantastic football game. But it's the Zebras for the 4th time in 4 tries between these two programs over the course of the last 700-plus days that come away with the victory again. 31-24 in overtime, and Grandview starts the season 1-0.
Celebrate right there where you're at, have a good time, but please, we ask for your cooperation on that. Once again, congratulations to both teams for their efforts.
Somebody said in the comments earlier tonight that we got our money's worth with this one, and they were absolutely correct. A fantastic football game this evening here at Zebra Stadium, coming right down to the wire. And on 4th and goal, it was Demetrius Crownover, arguably the best player on the football field, that made the play when it mattered most. 6'7", 275, and there was just no way for Darian Peace to get away from that. And Crownover makes the big play at the finish to end this one and give Grandview the 31-24 overtime win. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, because we absolutely did. Darian Peace with a 4-yard touchdown run to cap off that drive. They scored with 9:22 in the fourth to make it 24-17. And then finally, their defense was able to make a big play in the fourth quarter to cut off that Grandview drive and get the football back for their offense. 2:16 was on the clock in the fourth quarter. They took over on their own 39-yard line. Remember, after another punt snap that was shaky as they tried to get it back to Luke Ferguson, that set up Malakoff with good field position, and they took advantage, driving all the way down the field. Peace hit Nathan Jones for the touchdown pass with 48 seconds left on the clock to tie the football game at 24. This year they did hit the PAT, did Malakoff, to tie the game and send it to OT. But in overtime, it's Dane Yench doing the job once again. His 34th win as a starting quarterback. We mentioned it earlier. If they go 15-1 or 16-0 this year and win a state championship, he will become the all-time winningest quarterback in the history of Texas high school football. And he made sure that his Grandview Zebras started with a win tonight. A 16-yard touchdown run to make it 31-24. And then on 4th and goal, the fumble, the strip sack created by Demetrius Crownover to end the football game. And that is how Grandview moves to 1-0, now 4-0 against Malakoff over the course of the last 3 seasons. A sensational football game. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate you guys joining us on the WFA YouTube channel. The WFA Digital Network this year, our platform will be our YouTube channel, and we had close to 1,000 of you watching late in the fourth quarter. Thank you guys so much for watching tonight. We really appreciate you guys being here with us this evening. With that, this one is in the books. Our final score one last time, 31-24 in favor of Grandview as the Zebras move to 1-0. Malakoff, in a heartbreaker, falls to 0-1. Our thanks to Coach Driscoll and Coach Ebner for being so very generous with their time and information about their 2 teams earlier this week. Without their help, without them feeding me with information about these young men, I wouldn't know what to talk about. So thanks to each of them for sharing so much information with me about these 2 teams, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to do a broadcast like this. For our photographer, Raul Garcia, and our digital coordinator, Nick Blackhall, I'm Mike Leslie. Thanks so much for watching tonight. Join us next week as we head to Paris, Salina and Paris, in a 4A matchup that should be a real good one. Maybe, hopefully, as good as the one we just saw. Thanks for watching.